for the first time, heard Chinese Democracy. I had never heard the album.
Okay.
And got to hear Buckethead play on that album, and he's great. He's an amazing player. In fact, he's very much, I see why he was in the band. He has a very Slash-like quality to his playing, and I had, gained a whole new respect for him, because I'd only known him as sort of the image of who he is. I'd not heard his playing, and certainly had great respect for him.
I've never met him.
Play him, yeah.
I've never met him.
What did you think of that? Because with Megadeth, it's Dave Mustaine, and it's a lot of musicians in and out, and Guns N' Roses was the same way. Did you view, like some people, I still view it as Megadeth, and I love the entire catalog. I still view it as GNR, love the entire catalog. Same thing with Anthrax. I mean, good music is good music. How do you view something like that with the lineup changes and keeping the name?
I think a lot of it is as a fan, and I mean, I think Kiss goes back to the, when it started to fragment. I did not buy Dynasty. That was the first Kiss record I didn't buy. They kind of went to a different place, and of course they took the makeup off and everything else. But also there was other music that was coming out around that time that I started to get into. Boston, Van Halen, eventually the new wave of British heavy metal started to come in. Guns N' Roses, being in L.A., I knew of them. They were around. They were kicking around the clubs, playing. They were working on that Appetite for Destruction record for many years, several years. I'll never forget, it was me and Dave and Jay Reynolds from Malice, who was actually the guitar player in Megadeth for a short period. We didn't end up recording with him, but remained good friends with them. We were driving down to Lake Elsinore, where Dave's mom lived. We were going to go jet skiing. And I remember listening to KNAC when it was still a terrestrial station, and on came Mr. Brownstone.
Wow.
And it was like, whoa, what is this? And I mean, that just kicked my ass, and we were immediate fans. It was so cool, everything about it. And then when that album then blow up around us, we did Castleton Monsters Rock in England in 1988, and Guns N' Roses played before us. In fact, the footage, the black and white footage of the Paradise City video of them flying over on the Concorde was them coming over to that show, because they were actually out on tour with Aerosmith at that time in the U.S., and they left the tour for a day to come over there. And there was 3 bands in L.A. That had similar lifestyles. Let's call it Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, and Megadeth. I'll leave the rest to your imagination. That's right? Awesome. So we were, we kind of had a similar, Motley, of course, were big rock stars, but, Megadeth were, we were struggling coming up out of the gutters of Hollywood and L.A., and so were Guns N' Roses. So we kind of shared an affinity for our struggles, our lifestyle, both very brash, forward-thinking music, and obviously 3 bands from 3 very different genres. But for me, here's the short answer to my long answer to your short question. For me, that band was always those guys, the next time we played with Guns N' Roses was in 1991 at Rock in Rio. Wow. And I mean, it was like the Rolling Stones. I mean, they went from this scrappy little band in Hollywood, and haven't seen them in '88 in England, kicking ass. But then all of a sudden, to see them on the stage with Rock in Rio, they played 2 nights there. With the backing singers and keyboards, and I mean, it literally was like watching, it was like watching the Stones or something. Yeah. It was amazing to see how big that thing had gotten.